Hello. Normally I have headphones and I can hear myself, but my headphones are in my car, which is a story in of itself. So please let me know if I'm too loud or too soft, somewhere in between. That would be a lot of help. Hey, nutritionist Liz and Awaken Moxie, how's it going? It's so nice to see familiar faces. Anna, how's it going? Erica, how's it going as well? Awaken Moxie is one of my good friends. Anna Real is one of my good friends. High Mileage Helper is my childhood best friend, one of my our in real life friends. How's everyone doing on this Sunday? It's actually the first nice day here where I live in like the last week or so. So it's a beautiful day. I'm enjoying my Sunday. Yeah, I'm just gonna give it a minute, let people stream in, see how everyone else is doing, and then I got a couple different topics I want to launch into today. I have some updates, just the general kind of how I'm doing, how coming back has made me feel. Then I have some advice I want to ask, and then lastly, I have a video topic I want to work on together, that's coming up for this Friday. Okay, sounds good. That's great. Yeah, Mia, speaking of high mileage helper, while I'm waiting for people, so my car has had issues for a long time now, and I finally decided to try to do something about it. And my buddy Daniel, or high mileage helper, he does a lot of work on his trucks because of what he does for his work. And we've been trying and failing most of this weekend to try to fix my car. Every time we think we have what we need fixed and ready to go, it's just another thing. And so I'm pretty stressed at the moment because I don't have a working car, and that's got me on edge. What's up? Okay, I'm gonna mess up your name, and if I do mess it up, just give me like a phonetic thing. I'm gonna say scroller beats. How's it going, scroller beats? Yeah, so and it's funny because my friend's been helping me, but it's like one of those things where the more and more we get into the project, the more and more I wish I had just taken in, and not because my friend is incapable, but I'm starting to feel really guilty at how much time this is eaten up on his part. And I feel like that really bad friend that has given my friend this project thing, because I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to cars. Bless him for helping me though. We're gonna give it. It's about 5 minutes. I'll give it another like minute or two before I launch into my spiel. You pronounced it right. Okay, that makes me so happy to hear. I'm famous for butchering people's names. I'm dyslexic, so it's really hard for me to pronounce a name that I haven't heard. If I've heard it once, then I can kind of get it down. But if I've never heard it, I'm awful. Strings and pedal Annabelle, another one of my internet friends from YouTube. So late. Why? You don't have to stay and watch it, Annabelle. You go to bed, my European friend. The problem with the car is like I guess a wheel bearing. My friend helped me replace the right side of my car's wheel bearing, and I thought that was the problem. He helped me replace it really quickly, and then that didn't solve the problem, which was really stress inducing. And so I'm pretty sure it's the wheel bearing, like the part of the car that helps the wheel move. And when I drive, it's this awful droning noise or like growling noise that is really unpleasant and sounds awful. So we've been trying to fix that, but there's a couple parts that got damaged in the process of taking things apart and having to find other stuff. But yeah, so right now I'm pretty stressed just because money is tight, and then it just keeps on feeling like a more and more expensive problem, but That's how life be sometimes. Okay, well, we're about 6 minutes into it, so I'll start in on my spiel and say hello to people as they come in. I want to say right off the jump, thank you so much for coming by and saying hi and spending any amount of time with me. I feel super nervous. It's still really strange to be in front of a camera live streaming. Uh, it's weird to be back creating content. It's I'm struggling to feel like not have imposter syndrome and feel like I'm not actually a creator and remind myself that I have done this before. And so I just appreciate everyone's patience and for stopping by and saying hi and chatting with me. It really does mean so much. Strings and Pedals says, Annabelle, I must assess the stream, but I will also pass out any minute. Yeah, no, of course, pass out. I don't know what time it is where you're at, but it's late. One of the reasons why I wanted to kind of do these more weekly, Erica says, "Oh right, I've dealt with cars breaking down. Unsure about all the words in English though." Oh yeah, I feel yeah. I don't know how to pronounce some of the words and some of the parts don't even make sense to me. So I can imagine in a different language it would be hard. But one of the reasons why I think it would be fun to do these more weekly live streams is that, as I'm going to talk about, there's things that go on in my life as a product of, like, say, creating content again, or other things that I'm working on that don't fit well into videos. Um, when I make a video, it's usually about something that is in the past or I've spent a lot of time thinking about, and I feel like I have some sort of key insight or some sort of key answer or solution, or just something to give to the audience. But when it comes to these other issues in my life, or some of these more present tense or current things that I'm still sifting through, I don't have the ability to create a video yet because I'm just not to that point. Annabelle says 1:38 a.m., buddy. That is really late. So for instance, like an example of some of these things that go on in my personal life that maybe I can talk about in a stream, depending, is coming back last week. So I uploaded not this last Friday, but the Friday before that, and then I streamed the following Saturday. And that was a lot. It was a very exciting thing, but also a very nerve-wracking thing. In my first video back, I talked about this trauma in my life, and then I talked about it again in my live stream. And it was a very overwhelming thing, and so overwhelming as someone with bipolar, it pushed me into this very hypomanic dissociative state that was really difficult to deal with because I could feel myself slipping into an episode. And that was pretty scary because before I was medicated and before I knew I was bipolar, when these episodes would happen, they would just like grab onto me and then wreck my life for a week or two or three. And so I was really leery about, okay, maybe, because that was one of the things I was really afraid of coming back, is afraid that, like, maybe this is too much for me to handle, and talking about this subject and coming back to content creation is just going to push me over the edge. And so temporarily it did, and it kind of freaked me out, and it was pretty overwhelming. Oh, Tater Tot, how's it going? East, hey East, good to see you. Good to see from you more regularly lately. Yeah, I really want to be a lot more regular and consistent with my uploading. Whether I'm gonna live stream once a week, I don't know. It just depends on what my audience wants from me, and if we can come up with interesting ideas of what to do during the live streams. Which I have a kind of a note about one of these potential ideas that I have coming up later, and the things I want to talk about immediately. But thank you so much for stopping in, Tater Tot, with it being so late. Where do you live? Annabelle lives in the Netherlands. So where are you at, Tater Tot? Erica, are you in Germany, I think? Yeah, Europeans love East. Yeah, I swear the Europeans are just super open people. And my kind of content, I think, vibes with them a lot better than, say, like the Midwest, where I'm from. But it's so cool to have people from all over the world stop by and give me their opinions and say hi and spend time with me. The life is really strange, and the power of the internet is really strange, and the fact that I can have any kind of impact or reach to someone who lives across the Atlantic, and the fact that Annabelle is one of my best friends, and the fact that she got brought into my life through YouTube is just like all so special and wild. Uh, Uh, Elsie, Eliza, Alicia, Elise. I'm so bad at this. I'd like to be more regular too. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I'm just super. I'm so nervous at the moment. Sorry. Strings and pedal. Wow, doxing me. Yeah, the Netherlands a big country. Yeah, who knows where in the Netherlands? Erica, Sweden, nice. Tater tot, Germany, nice. I'm down in the south, but I love east. Nice. Uh, South is in like the United States South. Where in the south of the states? But yeah, going back into some of these other things, talking about like right now, like I feel in this very like agitated, not agitated, but this very elevated state that makes me nervous. Exploring these like powerful things while being bipolar and medicated is a bit hard for me. And then I'm just super self-critical and dealing with a lot of like negative internal thoughts. And so, yeah, I'm just a bit nervous. Uh, Alisa. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. It's okay. Nice to see you laugh. Oh, Rachel, my sister, Rachel East, one of my favorite siblings. I love her so much. Hey, my name's Rachel, and I'm a huge fan. You're my hero. Yeah, Rachel's my youngest sister. She lives out in LA. She's super cool. I'm jealous of her weather. Oh, you're in South Africa. Okay, that is a very different kind of South than what I was expecting. Yeah, the so the hypomanic state that I got pushed into last weekend, coming back was really fun, and it was really cool to connect with people again. It was really cool to see messages, and it was really cool to live stream and have people like you all come and say hi and get to interact with you all. But it made me, like I said, pretty hypomanic. And what was the strangest part is that it manifested in all these like physical. It was so much pushing me out of my comfort zone and so much excitement. It manifested in these really strange physical symptoms where on Sunday, after I came back Friday and Saturday, I started to feel like I had a fever and I started to feel really sore. And for a second, I thought I was getting like a flu. But the next day, the fever went away, but I had all this soreness. And I think, at least, because I didn't get sick, that this extremely like excited state and being hypomanic and then like all the emotion that comes with coming back after 14 months of going away pushed me into this state where it was like so taxing that I ended up having soreness and all this crazy stuff happened. And so it was a pretty wild time. But luckily, with medication and with my determination to keep on being a consistent creator, had that been a year ago, before I was medicated and before I knew, that would have pushed me off of creating content. I probably would have disappeared again, tragically. But luckily, because I'm in such a better spot in general, I was able to just sort of push through it, and then it went away, and then still be able to create the video and upload the video. And so I'm feeling very confident about where I currently sit and where my current mental health is at, because that was a huge test and I really didn't want to be tested, but it was a pretty huge test. And so I'm pretty excited that I was able to survive and push through it. Strings and Pedal says, "Wow, you have favorite siblings." I mean, I love them all in very different ways, but there might be a slight pecking order. I have 6 siblings, so there's a spectrum of my favorites, but I like all of them a lot. The wake up call. Thank you so much for dropping in, representing Florida. Nice. Florida sounds nice this time of year. I'm tired of the cold. Erica says, "Totally get the nervousness. Don't worry about it. You're good." And it's always funny because I don't know how nervous I come off, because on the inside I'm panicking right now. But whether that comes across or not, I don't know. Tater Tot, would you mind live streaming while playing a calming game that might take the pressure off of you and help with anxiety? Still able to engage with your audience while playing. That's something I've thought about, especially because I want to maybe explore Twitch later on down the road. One of the problems I have, though, is I'm extremely ADHD, and it's hard for me to have any kind of serious conversation and be doing something else. So it would be one of those things where I would have to either focus on the chat and then not play the video game at all, or I would play the video game and not focus on the chat at all. And obviously, what matters to me is the chat and talking with y'all. Caitlin Brown, hey, how's it going? Hi, I'm so glad we're here together. So happy to be in a non-judgmental, authentic space. For people to call this a non-judgmental and authentic space means the world to me. That's one of the biggest things I wanted to create is how do we have a space where these subjects like depression or trauma or anything else like that isn't taboo and people feel open talking about it and feel there isn't all this shame and stigma tied with it. Anna Real says, oof, I get that flu, like exhaustion and soreness after spending a lot of energy. Yeah, you get it. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. Caitlin Brown says, we all need our own time to heal and process things. Take your time. Everything is good for you and your channel. I'm glad you're able to persevere. Yeah, I'm so happy because I really do miss content creation and I have some really huge plans coming up. And to get to those plans, I have to actually create content and get videos out. So it's been really cool to be kind of consistent and upload. A nutritionist says, you appear quite calm. I'm glad I'm able to mask. Shout out to years worth of trying to manage ADHD and mental health symptoms for making me appear in a very different way than I actually feel. Strings and Pedals says, before I pass out, I'll turn down the banter and just admit real quick how proud I am of you, bipolar and ADHD king. Oh, thank you so much, Annabelle. Annabelle is she's a bit of a Sour Patch Kid. At first, she'll be kind of mean or banter with you, and then she'll be super sweet. But yeah, like I said, Annabelle, Moxie, Anna, Real, Sophie. There's a bunch of people in my life that have come through YouTube, and some of the most special gifts I have. Caitlin Brown says, and if you come from a large family, it's very easy to like some siblings more than others. Not always a negative thing. Yeah, it's not that I dislike any of my siblings. It's just like some I'm closer to because of age or whatever it may be. Liz says, but as a person with anxiety, I'm now picking up on the nervousness because you're talking about it. Yeah, it helps for me to just talk through my feelings, how I'm feeling, and being authentic, because I get a lot more anxious if I don't articulate what I'm thinking and feeling. And the more I talk about it, like the easier, the more the nerves go away. Caitlin Brown, sometimes multitasking is very difficult for me. Sometimes a group game would be a good way to interact. Yeah, I think doing group games and more laid back streams where I'm talking about maybe not topics like such heavy topics that go with my channel might be something I want to explore with Twitch, where I stream more frequently, where it's a little bit more removed from my channel, or maybe something I do on here. I'm not quite sure. One of my good friends, Layla, she's a streamer on Twitch and she does like group games and stuff like that. And I reached out to her recently to ask her for help if that is something that I explore in the future. Erica says, yes, this is beautiful, this space. That makes me so happy to hear. Hi, Mileage Helper, my bro. Thank you for everything you're doing, helping me with my car. We will get this frustrating thing nailed down and finished, and I appreciate you more than I could ever express. Nutritionalist says, definitely talk about it. We're here for you. It's my anxiety on this end. What are you anxious about, Nutritionalist Liz? It's also strange because I was talking to my friend about this, and I don't think you realize like how little you actually talk until or I guess I don't realize how little I talk until I try to film a video or live stream, because I'll talk when I film my videos. It takes about 40 minutes of me reading the script, and by the 40 minutes, like the end of the 40 minutes, my throat and voice and just me in general is so utterly exhausted from talking for 40 minutes, and then it just hits me, oh wow, I spend most of my day not talking to anyone, just doing my own thing. And same with live stream. By the time this live stream ends, I'm gonna be so emotionally and physically exhausted, but I'm so happy to be here. Uh, sorry, sorry, I might have misheard. Are you still feeling a bit hypomanic or more stable as of today? Um, I was feeling pretty stable, but there's this stress that's going on with my car that's making me very on edge and anxious, and then the sort of the excitement and the being pushed out of my comfort zone with live streaming is making me a bit manic. So I feel, truthfully, I feel a little hypomanic, not super bad, but it does feel weird to be sort of in that space where my thoughts feel a little bit like they're running away from me and I feel a bit anxious and not calm. So if I had to pick a state, I would say I'm probably in a bit of an elevated hypomanic state. Nutritionist says generalized anxiety disorder and social anxiety. So do you do you get anxiety when you feel someone else having anxiety, even through something like a live stream? Uh, Anxiety disorders in general are something that I have a lot of compassion for because I suffer with a lot of things, but one of the things I don't really particularly suffer with is anxiety in any meaningful way. There were periods when I was younger where I would have like panic attacks or anxiety attacks, but throughout the years, I've never really suffered from like severe anxiety, at least not anxiety in the way other people go through it. And it's a really debilitating thing, and especially like social anxiety or even being out and about or having anxieties that don't have triggers, right? Uh, like proper panic. So I have a lot of empathy and compassion for you, Liz. Ali, thank you so much for dropping in, Ali. For me, it's the opposite. I can get very anxious when I have to talk about myself. So playing a game while doing these streams would always give me a backup topic to talk about if it gets too much. I think that's a great point and something that I definitely want to explore. Right now, like it's just maybe when I get better at like talking and settling down and feeling okay in this space, then I can explore some other things to do with my streams as well. Strings and pedals, that is so relatable, the not talking. Yeah, it's wild. uh, Alisa, I talk too much when nervous around people. I don't know. Yeah, I tend to clam up. It's weird because being a creator, there's a lot of focus on me because I'm the one talking to people or I'm like the one creating the video. And you would think that would make me probably extroverted, but I'm not. I'm a very introverted person. So live streaming is really challenging for me because I feel like there's a lot of attention on me and it makes me kind of uncomfortable because I don't, if we were to psychoanalyze myself, I would say I probably don't feel deserving of that attention. So it can be hard for me to have it. Or I feel like I need to entertain. And then we get into these questions about, am I entertaining enough or smart enough or whatever it may be. So if we're going to really heavily psychoanalyze myself, like I always do on my channel, that's why it's a bit of a struggle. It's so okay. I'm here for you and so proud of you. If that's okay for me to say, yeah, no, that's totally okay for you to say. I'm trying to get better at accepting compliments and accepting when people say nice things about me. Yeah, before the stream started, I was so nervous that no one would show up, and here I am with 16 people. So I feel so blessed and honored. It means so much to me that you would spend any time with me at all. Not because I don't think I'm deserving, but because I acknowledge there's so many things you could be doing with your time. So having people stop by and spend any time with me at all is just so huge, and it means the world. The same with people that spend any time watching my content, the people that leave these really vulnerable comments. It absolutely shocks and amazes me the vulnerability I get back from people. And it happened in live streams as well. Like, yes, last week's live stream had people be very vulnerable with me. And so, I don't know, it means the world to me. And I can never really fully articulate how much all this means. So, thank you for your time and your vulnerability. Emily, how's it going? I had to be on Zoom all day for my last job, and it was absolutely exhausting. So much masking, trying to sit perfectly still and hold my face in a certain way, trying to not fidget. Yeah, I could not do that. Every time I'm on a video call, oh, where is it at? I have this fidget cube, and I sit here and I start like messing with it, or I start chewing on it. I absolutely could not do that as a job. Not fidget and mask. It would be exhausting. Thank you so much for the comment, Emily. Awaken Moxie, with all of these layers to it to consider, you're doing absolutely great, my guy. Thank you, Moxie. You're insanely brave. I could never. You'd be surprised. You could probably pull it off. Zero. Okay, we're gonna have to work with me here. Zero Borderer. I haven't seen or heard from you in a while. I'm glad you're still here and streaming. You are very appreciated. Thank you so much for dropping by and leaving a comment, Zero. Yeah, it's 14 months off is a really long time. I mentioned this in my last stream, but I had so many people. Something I had a lot of guilt about, but I had so many people reach out and hit me with like, "Are you alive? How are you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while," and those comments and people reaching out really helped me keep pushing forward to eventually come back. And a real Emily, I relate to that a lot. I sometimes don't realize how much I fidget until I'm with others and feel the pressure to mask. I'm overly aware of every movement. It's truly exhausting. Yeah, for me, trying to masking or like trying to fit in with other people is a really draining thing. Like the constant analyzing of myself of like, am I saying the right things? Like, am I am I being awkward? Am I saying something taboo? Being around people has always been a huge struggle for me in general. So the next thing, if you all don't mind, of course, keep on leaving comments and I'll react to it as we go. The next thing I want to kind of jump into, since I have you all here, is just ask some advice. My channel is here to serve you all. It's to help you all. So when I create my content, I constantly think about how real you all are and how real your problems are. The things I talk about, whether it's trauma or depression or something as serious as suicidality, it doesn't escape me that the people that click on these videos relate to these topics in some way. Either you know someone who has this, either you're suffering with it yourself, or maybe you're curious. But for me, I'm always pushing in my mind that these are not numbers, or they're not avatars, or they're just not usernames. Like these are real life people suffering with something. So when I create my content, it's really important for me to be as ethical or as moral or keep that in mind as I can. And so I would love to ask advice to shape my channel around you all and have an understanding of what some of you do or don't like. And so I just wanted to ask a few questions, maybe get some feedback, see what you all were thinking, if that's chill with you all. Strings and pedals. I thought I wasn't a fidgeter, but when they did ADHD tests with a camera tracking your movements, apparently I very much earned that H in ADHD. Nice. Yeah, I'm fidgeting hard right now. So some of the things I wanted just some whatever freeform advice about is this might be something I make a community poll on, especially. But when it comes to the length of my videos, I kind of brought this topic up in my last live stream, but I kind of wanted to bring it up again and maybe see if anyone had like more concrete answers for what kind of length of videos they prefer. My last two videos were around 20 minutes, over 20 minutes, and I just wanted to know whether longer videos work, whether you maybe my current videos are fine where they're at, maybe you want shorter videos. I personally really struggle with conciseness. If I really wanted to, I could probably make an hour-long video uh, with how wordy I am. But making something under 20 minutes is really difficult. But if that's what people wanted, then I would probably try to work to do that in the best way that I can in my own style. So I didn't know whether anyone had opinions about the length of my videos, whether they're fine where they're at, or whether you're fine with the video being as long as it needs to be. I try to tackle everything that I think is important, but not have too many extras in there. So I thought I would put forth that question and see how you all felt about length of videos, whether 20 minutes, 30 minutes, as long as I'd like, anything like that. Zero border. Yeah, I personally, and the reason I ask is because when it comes to the content creators that I like, they'll upload these like 15 or 20-minute long videos, and I'm like, no, like I could listen to some of my favorite creators talk for hours. Part of it is because of my job. I'll work for hours on end and I can like listen to a single earbud. So I'm always consuming content. So me personally, I really like super long form content, but I also know it's not everyone's cup of tea. Let's see. Ali says, I think it depends on the topic. It should be as long as it takes to address everything you want slash need to address. Thank you. That's my current strategy. So hearing that back means a lot to me. Tater Tot, oh, I have some feedback in your last live stream. You mentioned your rapid weight gain slash loss and said numbers, which can trigger me. So I just wanted to maybe ask to not mention your numbers around weight. Yeah, Tater Tot, I can definitely avoid numbers, especially people struggling with eating disorders, avoid talking about numbers when I can and save that for something like a video where there's a trigger warning where if that is a bothersome, you can get away from it and not deal with it. Erica said, oh, wait, Wake and Moxie says, in my opinion, your perspective is the value. So how long it takes for you to express your perspective is the perfect length of video. Erica says definitely as long as it is possible for you. Okay, great. As long as they need to be, I like longer videos. Elisa says I prefer between 20 to 30 minutes in general, maybe multi parts if they're lengthy. That brings up another thing. I might ask advice about I've been saying tater tot this whole time, but it's tater thought. And I forgot how much I loved that username last time, and I'm gonna reaffirm how much I love that name this time, tater thought. I personally love longer videos, especially with topics you explore. They need the longer time to be explored. I couldn't agree more. Awaken Moxie, since the beginning I returned to listen to what you specifically had to say, regardless of a shorter or a longer video. Oh, thank you so much, Moxie. Caitlin Brown, uh, you like anything from No Limit to be more of a 20? If you could present the topic in a 3-hour debate bro style video, I'd be down. I don't think 3 hours might be too long for me, but that's one thing I've always wanted to make, and that's maybe a distant dream of mine. But commentary videos or like bread tube videos, the number of times where I've thought about making that kind of content and how much it appeals to me. But yeah, I could probably make an hour-long video, but that feels a bit like lavish, I guess the word would be. Ali says, I have ADD, so sometimes I struggle to sit through a long video, but I can always finish it at a later time. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. For me and my ADHD, even though I think I'm technically ADD, I'm the non-hyperactive form of ADHD. Uh, but I'm always listening to YouTube. I'm always listening to music. Like I don't ever. There's never silence in my world. I'll take a shower and I'll be watching YouTube, or I'll be watching YouTube as I get ready in the morning, or I'll be watching YouTube as I do something. So that's kind of plays a part in why I like long form content, because I just consume so much of it. Erica says, haha, sorry about the weird sentence. I meant I prefer long videos. No, I'm just a bit dyslexic. So reading what you said was perfectly fine. I just read it in a weird way. Okay, cool. Obviously this is like a small sample size, but it means a lot you all giving your opinions. I definitely, one of the big problems I find with self-help content on YouTube, and this is something I created a video about, is that self-help videos on YouTube follow what's called like this episodic format, where each video is this like self-contained thing. And I find it really challenging because if you look at the biggest people in my niche, whether it's Matt Davella, Thomas Frank, Better Ideas, the School of Life, the Academy of Ideas, these people that I look up to, they all make these episodic standalone videos that run between like 10 to 15 minutes long, and I just don't feel like that's often enough time to get into a really serious topic. And I feel like one of the ways they compensate for that is either not getting into serious topics or finding very simplistic approaches to complex problems. And so one of the things I want to do to make my content a bit different is to give these problems the full weight they need. Emily says, I think longer videos are perfectly fine for you since you typically create a script and have everything pretty structured. Maybe just add video chapters to help people follow along. Yeah, I love adding chapters and breaking things down, and it really fits with my script, and I do it when I'm editing. So, yeah, always add chapters. Ali, I have videos running in the background too at all times, but it's difficult for me to focus on the content when I do something else. Yeah, that makes sense. I would say a lot of the content sort of falls in the background. So I get what you're saying. Use some pedal. I do find myself wanting to listen to your videos more attentively than other content though. So I get brain fatigue after a while. Makes sense. Oh, thank you so much, Ali. So when I watch your videos, I just set time apart for that. That makes me feel good. Thank you. Lisa M, how's it going? How are you doing? One of the OGs. There's a lot of OGs in here tonight. Okay, so perfect length of videos nailed. The next thing I want to ask about is thumbnails. Last stream, I kind of revealed early I have a logo. And so one of the things that I want to do is talk about thumbnails and see if you guys have any advice for me about what does or doesn't work. So I'm going to let that switch over. So, what's on the screen is the thumbnail from my last video, or no, my first video back after taking a super long break. So the question I want to ask is because one of the things I struggle with is some of the YouTuber things or the content creator things are super cringe to me, and one of the things I find really hard to do is I'll have these really complex or abstract topics and then I'm supposed to make this thumbnail for it, and then a lot of creators put their faces in it, and then I'm like, well, what am I supposed to be doing with my face, or like, what am I supposed to be doing with my hands, or how do I convey in this photo what the topic is? And often there is no way for me to do that, and so one of the things I was thinking about was maybe moving away from including my face in these videos, and then also another thing that I've been playing around with is AI art generation, and why that tool is really cool is I can use like keywords or descriptions that fit with like some of the symbolism in my, excuse me. I can use an AI art generator and I can plug in like themes or visual things that go along with the script. For instance, I wanted to portray this idea of running from the past, and so I had an AI art generator create this image for me. And so one of the things I wanted to move towards was using AI art as the thumbnail that fits in with the topic in some sort of way. Obviously, having some kind of descriptive text, and then, but it's for me, it's really important that people can pick out my videos. And the current way I do that is I'll have my face in it. But like I said, I've been kind of wanting to move away from my face because I don't know, I feel really cringy like doing the YouTuber faces. So the thing I wanted advice on is whether, especially with the use of my logo, whether having these thumbnails that don't include me in it would still be something that would catch your eye as, oh, that's an Eastbound video. That's a video I want to click on or a video I want to watch. I guess I'm asking, how important to you is it that my face be in the thumbnail? Strings Pedal says, sad Christopher face. Anna Real says, ooh, that's cool. Emily, the YouTuber faces, we all know them well. Yes. The Mr. Beast face or all of those channels, like the React channels. Lisa M says, see, I think a lot of YouTubers find the dramatic face thumbnails cringe. Hey, AR is problematic for your information. I research it first. I like the art. I like the art it made. Yeah, AR art problematic in the sense of what way? Like in terms of taking art away from artists, or I might I'll throw that up in a tab right now. AI art. Alisa says, "I like the new AI art stuff. Makes it quick, but put watermark in the thumbnail." Strings and Pedal says, "I think the logo might be too busy, chaotic." Anna Real says, "I think they say people are drawn more towards faces, but it could feel awkward for you to take pics for those more serious videos." Someone I take inspiration from that I'll show you all is. Ciro says, "I think I would prefer the version with the logo. However, the one with your face would probably perform better in the YouTube algorithm." Yeah, I agree. Definitely, ones with faces pulls people in, but like I said, it's really hard for me to figure out what to do. And then I'll actually bring up another example of what my contemporaries do. So yeah, so if we look at huge channels in the self-help niche, what they do is these super minimalist thumbnails where they're just like sort of staring off into space, or I don't really know what's going on in half of these thumbnails, but that is what everyone does, and I don't feel like that's descriptive enough. I feel like that doesn't really convey what the video is about, and I don't think that's helpful. So it's been hard for me because I've been trying to look at people who are bigger than me and take inspiration, but no one really does great thumbnails in my opinion that like convey video topic. One channel I do kind of take inspiration from is Academy of Ideas, and I kind of like their sort of art background meets just simple text to do with the video. But one of the things is, how do I create theming, and how do I let you all know a video is one of my videos? And that's where I think the logo comes in, but I'm not quite sure if that's what I want to go with or not. Tater Thought says yes. Either have the logo be chaotic and the rest of the thumbnail plain, or the other way. Right now, it's a bit crowded. Okay, interesting. Erica says wake up call. That's what I was thinking. Lisa says, here's where it's tricky for me. I think YouTube face thumbnails are a bit cringe in general too, but I worry that if there wasn't a face or something personal, it could feel a bit educational. That's a great point. That's definitely where Academy of Ideas fits in. Is it's a less of a direct person and more of like an educational channel. Anna Real says, do you have a simplified version of your logo so it's recognizable and not too busy when it's small? I don't. I do have an artist friend who recently came into my life that might be able to help me with that, though. I might hit you up, Anna, and see if you can create a simplified version of my logo. Good thought. And I would probably include your face when it feels right or makes sense. That dramatic look with a hand on the side doesn't feel authentic. Maybe take a picture of yourself talking in the vid. Yeah, it's just such a weird thing to make it feel authentic and make it feel not cringe. That's why I wanted to move away from it into something that's still recognizable as one of my videos, but maybe can be a bit more attention grabbing without having me be like dramatic in every single thumbnail. Elisa says, yes, do testing. Zero. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the super minimal thumbnails. I agree that it doesn't fit with the video, but it's hard because like all the huge YouTubers like me that are talking heads do the super minimal thumbnails where they're just doing some random activity, and sometimes it relates to the video. Haha, absolutely wake up. Strings and Pable, maybe just the eastbound typeface from the logo. Oh, that's not a bad idea. Awaken Moxie says, I guess it could vary based on video topics. Sometimes it could work with your face. Other times the topic might be presented without a face in the thumbnail. Definitely, there are thumbnails. Like for instance, I have this really cool thumbnail I worked with my good friend Sophie on. I have a future video talking about why abuse compels silence, and that will have my face in it. So I think when it's appropriate or when it doesn't feel forced, I'll still include my face. But here are some other examples I wanted to throw up. So this would be an example. Oh, let's zoom. This would be an example for I have a video titled "The Biggest Problem with Self-Help on YouTube," where I tackle what I think the biggest problem with self-help is. And so this would be the version of the thumbnail. It includes my logo. I didn't mean to include that, but this would be me, not necessarily this face. But so that's the version with my face. And then that would be the more like stripped down version without my face. And you know, because like in that video, like the biggest problem with YouTube self-help, I don't really know how I could get what face I would make in that wouldn't feel super inauthentic. So yeah, I just wanted your opinion on these two, whether there's something that you appeal to, or maybe something that you feel works better. Sophie, how's it going? Or Sophia, is it Sophie or Sophia? I like the AI art as it describes the content of the video in some way. Maybe you can have the AI art come across the screen, but be a small pic of your face in one corner of the screen. Maybe you can just put your face in the bottom corner of the thumbnail. Oh, the AI art is sick. Yeah, it's way better than anything I could do. That's for sure. By the way, glad to see you're doing well in life and back on YouTube. Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. I'm doing a lot better, even if I am feeling a bit manic at the moment. Uh, it's weird because this is kind of like a glimpse of like a more manic me, not super manic. I wonder what that would look like. I'm not sure. I need more Abilify. And the other reason this means so much to me, or the reason why I'm thinking through it, is another change I'm making to my content. Is I'm going to move to serialized videos where I make video series, because as we were talking about earlier, some of the topics I talk about are really serious and require a lot of digging. One of the lines from the video is the problems of life are not episodic. There's been no single problem I've ever been faced with that was self-contained and just a single part of my life and didn't interweave into every single other thing. So one of the challenges I have as someone who's going to move to video series, once again, none of these other channels do video series, so I have no idea how bigger channels do it. I have to kind of figure it out on my own. Is how do I create thumbnails that kind of capture what a video is in a series, what series is it a part of, like how can you tell just by looking? And that's one of these things is I have a relaunch series of videos coming up talking about all these changes I've made to my channel. And so this would be the beginning thumbnail of it. And then just denoting, how many videos on the series, which video is this a part of. So this is something I've been playing around with and maybe wanted some of your opinions or feedback on. Uh, Emily says, I agree with Sophia. Maybe put your channel logo in the bottom corner of your video so you don't have to invent a new face reaction for everyone. Yeah, I think that's what I'm heavily leaning towards. Lisa M says, unfortunately, there's not many ethical AR art generators. Yeah, I'll definitely look more into that and understand some of the implications of something like Mind Journey. Mind Journey is the one I use and like a lot. Strings and Pedals says I've also been hypobuzzing. Hypobuzzing, I don't know if that's a term bipolar people use, but I would definitely be hypobuzzing at the moment. Lisa M says I love the idea of video series. Yeah, one like video series for something like some of the video series I have planned is going into talking about bipolar. I have another video series that breaks down these much darker aspects of nicotine addiction and how to quit. I have another video series. What are some of the other video series that I have? Yeah, I showed off this spider web last time in my live stream, but this is what I use for all my ideation and road mapping. This mess of videos right here, in the center here, is all the videos that I have fully scripted out that are a part of my comeback to YouTube. And then some of these videos down here are the different kind of video series I'm working on. So, like I said, one about being bipolar, the process of discovering what it was like to be bipolar, how it hid for so long. I have another one talking about hair and identity, how I used growing out my hair to change my identity, and how I used it to help me recover from my eating disorder, and some other topics in there. So, moving into a video series is really huge for me, and I wanted to find a way to convey that in my thumbnails. So I thought I would just touch base with you all before I made some dramatic change and started changing everything, and whether it was a really bad idea in you all's opinion of me removing my face. And this is something I keep on giving you guys insights into these upcoming changes before I present the changes, and so it might be a bit confusing. But I'm gonna try to move away from me being such the center of the channel in a certain way. What that way is will make more sense as I keep on uploading content. Um, Elisa says it should flow well from one to the next vid in the series. Ali says, I don't mind either. I think a simpler logo might work better with different kinds of thumbnail. The small details can be very busy, and the smaller details easily get lost on the smaller screens. I think that's one of the, like, I really like that feedback that you all have given me. I definitely want to reach out to my friend or someone or find a way to simplify my logo for thumbnails. Oops, I didn't mean to mention small details twice. That's what happens when you rewrite a sentence 10 times. I feel you that some of my rough drafts from my scripts are rough. Okay, so for advices, we got the length of video, so just kind of as long as it needs to be. And then for thumbnails, it sounds like you all think it's okay for me to remove my face and still have my face when it's appropriate, or when I can come up with something that doesn't feel forced or inauthentic. So the next thing, I wanted advice about live streams. I think live streams are a really amazing way to connect with my community. I've been having so much fun talking to you all. So I wanted some ideas. I had a few ideas about maybe what I could do on my live streams. And then I wanted to touch base and see if you all had any suggestions. Let's move this back to transition. Emily says, I would just put the name of the series in the thumbnail, e.g., relaunching my channel part 1. Okay, that's really good feedback. Tater thought, I don't mean to sound shallow, but one thing to consider is that is that you're handsome, and by putting your face on the thumbnail, you might attract new viewers. Again, not ideal, I guess, but something to consider. Thank you for the compliment. It means a lot. That is something that I've thought about, because one of my videos that blew up, I was talking about my ex-fiance's eating disorder, and it was really interesting. Some people told me that when they saw they were like, what would this dude know about this topic? And I think that juxtaposition between maybe the way I look and the topics I'm talking about is interesting. So I think that is a good point to bring up, and maybe an asset of that I could consider using. I don't know. My own attractiveness is a topic that I struggle with, but that's its own it's a whole own issue that we're not going to get into. What about a black and white version of the logo? Just an idea. That might be a great way to simplify it. I like that. Emily says, so people see right away when they're scrolling. Yeah, that's a big thing that I'm thinking about, is recognizability. And if you're really into a certain, because that's one of the things I struggle with as a content creator, is I talk about all these different topics, and they all fit together. Like, there's a reason I talk about nicotine, because nicotine fits in with all these other dark topics of mine. But it can be a bit tough, because maybe you started watching me because I talked about eating disorders, or maybe you started watching me because I talked about depression or suicidality, and then I have all these other videos about topics like nicotine, and maybe you don't care about those. So that's another thing is if you're scrolling through my videos or see one of my videos out of the corner of your eye, I want to be able to communicate, okay, what are some of the topics and is this a video for you or not? And empower my audience to make better choices. So, advice for the live streams. One of the things I was thinking about I could do on live streams is work on a video topic together. For instance, I have a video topic that we might work together on a little bit here, but I have all these different videos I'm working on, and I think it would be cool to sometimes pull in opinions from my audience and maybe use those opinions in some way. But to all of us to work on a video and have your opinions heard and excuse me, integrate that into the way I think about my videos, and maybe it would help me a lot. But that's one of the ideas I had for a live stream is to have a video topic, something I'm going to work on, maybe something I'm going to release the following Friday, or maybe a few weeks after, and then sit down during the live stream and just go over this topic and break it down together and get opinions and see what we can think of. That's one idea I had for something we could do on live streams together. Once again, I just want advice about whether that sounds like a good idea or a bad idea, or maybe I would really, 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 really love any suggestions of other things I could do or talk about on live streams. One of the other things I want live streams to be is maybe a bit of a vlog where I talk about some of the things that have happened in the week, or maybe talk more about my life in ways that don't fit well into my mainstream videos that are about past tense things that I have deep insights into that I feel like I can share. Um, the people, Anna Real says there are many ways to be recognizable in a thumbnail: face, brand colors, font you always use, logo, overall style. You've got options. Definitely, Anna is a YouTuber. She's a little bit smaller than me, but she has really good thumbnails and it's really clear branding, and she has her own vibe that I'm a bit jealous of. Some people have these really good brandings and themes, and I feel a bit lost because I'm still experimenting and still kind of playing around, and I don't really have like a feel for my kind of branding yet. Let's see. Lisa Tater Thought says pretty privilege is real and sucky, but for you, maybe something to use to your advantage. Yeah, that I once again I appreciate that. Definitely something to think about and maybe use tactically when there's a certain topic. Elisa says representation matters. If someone sees a person who looks like them doing something I am struggling to speak. Representation matters. If someone sees a person who looks like them doing something, then they can envision themselves doing it too. Yeah, I think one thing I don't want to do is strip out the personal element. I still want to be very personal and relatable and authentic. And so that's a great point as well. Lisa M says, "Are you going to put the series in a playlist? That would help me as a viewer." Of course, every series is going to have its own playlist. I need to clean up my playlist. They're a bit messy at the moment. Strings and pedal making us work for the content, huh? Yeah, something like that. I'm gonna put you all to work and still take credit for it, and have you all be my topic generators. Speaking of vlogs, maybe I'll move into another topic and we can come back to the idea of what I do in my live streams. One type of content that I was thinking about making, and I've already sort of made it, is maybe exploring vlogs. Um, and in the vlogs, just talking about the things I'm trying to fix in my life, like more real time updates about the current realities of my struggles and the current realities of what I'm trying to do to fix those struggles. I actually filmed a series of vlogs I called the Struggle to Come Back vlogs, where starting in January, every week or so, I would record a brief vlog talking about um, why haven't I come back to YouTube yet? What's standing in my way? What am I afraid of? And so that's something I'm going to experiment with. Edit that down into, it's going to be like an hour long, maybe. I might release it in parts, but something I want to experiment with is for those of my in my audience that want a more personal look into my life, a more current and gritty, and this is the realities of my life as they are, not this is something that happened in the past that I now have processed. That's something I was thinking about playing around with, is maybe having a vlog I release. I don't think I could do weekly, maybe bi-weekly, have something where it's just breaking stuff down, and wanted your opinion whether you thought that was, whether you all thought that was a good idea or a bad idea. Anna says, nice of you to say a bit smaller than me. I'm not even to 1K, and thanks for the compliment. I've got a long way to go with graphics, but wow, mine used to be so bad. Well, even though you're a smaller channel than me at less than 1K, you have way better branding and thumbnail and uh, uh, this immediate readability to your thumbnails than I do. So look at you go. The wake up. Have I been missing the wake up calls comments? Let's see. The wake up call. I feel like I've been missing your comments, and I'm so sorry for that. Welcome to the stream. I was wondering why people kept on mentioning the wake up call, and I felt a bit crazy. And now I realize I'm just missing your comments. So I apologize about that. Thank you so much for stopping in. I think your profile pic should be used as the logo and superimposed on the thumbnail. Okay, that's, oh man, my classic profile pic that I've had forever. Even though I grew up my hair really long, it's kind of the same length now. Emily, to be honest, I think an hour is normal for vlogs these days. I don't think you need to break it up. All right, cool. I don't know how long this video is. I started editing it and I was like, oh, this is a lot of work, and I decided to work on it later. Tater Thought says, I would absolutely love vlogs and a more relaxed and personal videos from you. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I like, one of the reasons I really like live streams is whenever I watch my video, I watched the video I just released last Friday, and I kind of had to laugh at myself. I was watching it with one of my friends, and I was like, why am I why am I so serious all the time? Or I look so dramatic. My brows do this very earnest thing when I'm making my videos. And I really like live streams because I get to laugh and I get to be a bit more lighthearted, and this is more who I am. Not that my videos are inauthentic or disingenuous, but like usually, right, the agony of why mental health gets in the way of chasing success. That's kind of a serious topic, so I don't get to joke around. So I really like live streams where I could get to be a little bit more lighthearted and personal. Erica says that's a great idea, and the longer the vlog, the better, at least for me. That's great to know. Awaken Moxie. Maybe for some videos you have your scripted section and do a live about the topic, and afterwards edit in a section of info and thoughts that came from the audience before posting it all together. I think that's a really great idea, something to play around with. The Waco Call says, I think so too. Laugh out loud, no worries. Hopefully, I'm gonna go back. I feel bad now. Oh yeah, no, representing Florida. Okay, I must have missed some comments in between that. Okay, Florida wake up call. Gotcha. But Lisa M says, but would a vlog from you going forward look like? I can't picture it from some reason. Yeah, I don't really do much with my life, so a vlog wouldn't be like traveling. It wouldn't be like a get ready with me. It would be talking about the realities of there's so much going on in my life that I don't talk about in my videos because it's something I talk about in the vlogs, but I only feel empowered to talk about a topic when I feel like I have something to give the audience, right? And that's usually some sort of important insight or some important takeaway or maybe a solution. But there's a lot of problems in my life where I don't know the answer, and I still struggle with it. And it's not some past tense thing. Like it's easy for me to talk about my PTSD because it's very past tense, or now with my eating disorders, they're very past tense. I still struggle with them a bit, but a lot of that's in the past. And but there's a whole range of topics that are not in the past, and I'm not doing very well with, and I'm trying to figure out, and I'm struggling with, and maybe having a more raw and authentic discussion into like here are the anxieties and stresses I have about my finances, and here are the things I've destroyed about my life and that I'm trying to pick up the pieces with. Maybe a more play by play, listen, I don't have it figured out, but I'm trying to sort of video. And Strings and Pedals says your brows really are the main characters in your videos. So dramatic. Yes, they're very dramatic and emphatic and expressive eyebrows for sure. Sophia says, I would love to see you have a chat with another creator or subscriber on important topics, but I know that's not easy to organize. Um, yeah, it would be really difficult for me to organize because one of the most important things for my channel is this like brutal honesty. And if there's something to be honest about in a topic, I'm gonna be honest about it. And not everyone has that same comfortability in a public sense on YouTube with being that honest. So I think that would be a challenge to navigate whether people would want to engage with topics in the same depth or the same honesty that I have. But I think one of the very future plans of my channel is I would love to interview people or have other people on and have these conversations, especially if I pursued Twitch, having other people kind of join or talk to subscribers about what's going on in their life. Obviously, there's a lot of like ethical and moral concerns that I would have to explore and carefully pull apart, but that is a really great idea. Strings and pedals. Annabelle is always trying to get me to come visit her in Europe. Travel vlog for Eastbound meet and greet in Europe. I definitely one day, if I ever become somewhat wealthy, I would do a meet and greet. Lisa M says, honestly, I'd like to see you have conversation with your friends sometimes, which I realize is a weird thing to say to a person. I don't think that's I don't think that's that weird. I A lot of my friends live in different parts of the world. I don't have very many friends that live near me, but maybe striking up conversations with them. One of my friends, shout out Annabelle, I've actually done an interview with her and that went really well and it was a really positive experience. So definitely not an idea I'm against. One of the funniest things about my interview with Annabelle is we were talking about bipolar type 2 and I was like, wow, it must be so hard to have bipolar type 2. And trying to like empathize with her and sympathize and be like, oh, I can't really relate because I'm not bipolar. And lo and behold, years later, I find out that I am bipolar. And so one of those, I think it's hilarious watching that video back because I'm just like nodding my head sagely, like I don't understand or I don't relate. And then it should be like, nah, dude, you're bipolar as well, and yeah, you're going through it, and you don't know yet. And which was funny because inversely, I have ADHD, and I got diagnosed forever ago. And I was talking to Annabelle because she became one of my friends after the interview, and turns out that she has ADHD. So the whole time I had her bipolar, and she had my ADHD, and now we're even closer. Our friendship is even closer because we share mental health disorders. Lisa M says, wait, you starting you in Indiana. Just remember you're not really far from me. If so, yeah, I live in Indiana. I live in northern Indiana. I live about an hour away from Indy. And that you're gonna have to figure it out in that general area. Tater thought, gotta go to sleep. I'll watch the rest on your upload tomorrow. Thank you so much for coming in, and I appreciate you bringing up the topic about weights. And I realize that in a live stream, it's harder to navigate triggers, and I can't really give a trigger warning. So thank you for kind of checking me on that a little bit and bringing that up and expressing something that you were uncomfortable in. I really want to create an environment where people feel comfortable bringing up the things that maybe they didn't like. And so for you to feel empowered and tell me that and help create a better space for other people, especially since I will talk about eating disorders moving on, it means a lot to me. So thank you so much, Tater Thought, for bringing that up. It means a lot. Let's see. Wait, I really like that interview. Forgot about that. Haha, foreshadowing. Yeah, no, I think it's hilarious that it turned out I was bipolar as heck. Awaken Moxie, for lighthearted streams, I know you said cooking is something that you've been enjoying. So maybe a cooking stream once in a while, depending on the comfortability of your audience. Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I've had ideas about like cook with me, but my current kitchen setup is not great. And once again, I struggle to do multiple things at once. Anna says, laugh out loud, can't relate. I'm not bipolar. Strings and Pedals says, I can't relate. Ali said, so vlogs would allow you to be more personal with your viewers without the need to be vulnerable. No, vlogs would still be very vulnerable and honest tellings. It would just allow me to be, it would actually allow me to be way more personal and way more vulnerable than I am before. Because don't get me wrong, like when I talk about my past, like when I talk about my depression or PTSD or sexual abuse or eating disorders, like obviously that's a very vulnerable thing to talk about. But for me, it's like something that I've dealt with and I'm in a really good place with. And like, for instance, it's not triggering for me to talk about my essay. The reason I don't talk about my essay is for like ethical reasons that I have videos about in the future. So vlogs would be a far more personal and vulnerable look into my life because it's the stuff that I haven't figured out and I'm not comfortable with. And um, I just don't know the answers to. And I'm really struggling with these things. Like, for instance, my career or my finances, or a big thing for me right now is my inability to believe in myself and a lot of the struggles I have with tearing myself down and not really having a path forward on that yet. Erica says, yeah, I got to go too. Take care, everyone. Thank you so much for stopping by, Erica. It means the world to me. Emily says, I get mild mania type phases with my ADHD. I think there's a lot of overlap with bipolar, but obviously I don't experience it in the same way you all do. Emily, that's what I said. I said I don't experience it in the same way I do, and it turns out I'm bipolar. So who knows? Maybe you're part of the club. Um, Especially with, because I always thought my manic episodes, my like flights of fancy, were just ADHD, and so they hid for the longest time. And then with my depressive episodes, I had so much awful crap going on in my life. It wasn't that big of a stretch that I had depression. But then it turns out, no, like these depressive episodes are not normal. Strings and Pedals says, I just want dogs and vlogs. Yes, Annabelle desperately wants a dog and doesn't have one. There is a pup in the house, but I'm not gonna go grab him. Anna Real says, would they be unscripted, the live streams, or still scripted but more personal and current? I think it would be a mix of both. It's really hard for me to, as you all are experiencing in real time, it is really hard for me to say something super meaningful unscripted, because I like to really chew on things and work them over. The struggles to come back to YouTube vlogs are scripted because I feel the most powerful and the most me when I'm working from a script, because it's like, no, that's exactly how I feel and that's exactly what I think, and like these are the things I feel comfortable putting out into the world. Where like unscripted me is very ADHD, and I'm like, I hope I'm saying the right thing. I don't really know, or I need to think about that a bit more. So I think it would be a mix of scripted and unscripted. I can't tell you how many times I've Googled to try to find out if I have BPD or bipolar. But yeah, the Google does not help. If you think you have a certain mental illness, you'll Google that and it'd be like, yes, for sure, that is me. And then the next moment be like, that's not really me. Like with bipolar, one of the big issues with bipolar is people with bipolar type 2, like Gabby Hanna or Kanye, their versions of mania are just so different from what I've experienced. So I was like, oh, I'm not manic. Like I don't have these very intense periods where I'm doing these things that feel very out of character and extreme. But it just turns out I have hypomania instead. Awaken Moxie, I gotta go. Bye East, bye everyone. Thank you so much for dropping in, Moxie. Like I said, Moxie is one of my other YouTube friends and she means the world to me. So thank you for stopping by. So with that said, I think um Elisa says you have to have the time to find out how you feel and then script. Yeah, I think that's a great point. The ability to really sit with my feelings and chew on them and be as articulate as I possibly can. And especially with some ethical concerns, make sure that I'm not just sort of talking out my ass, so to speak, and be as me as I can be, and make sure that I'm minding my P's and Q's. So to finish this out, this live stream, I think I might go around 9 p.m. EST, which is here in about 13 minutes. Can I buy your water bottle? In like some creepy fan kind of way? Yeah, I'll ship it to you. Is this like a Bella Delphine thing with bathwater? Uh, but so I want to maybe explore a video topic with you all, get your opinions on it, maybe find a way to use these opinions or maybe what you've messaged in the chat and use it for the video, maybe. How this is going to manifest, I don't know. This is an experiment for me. But so the video topic I want to explore is why is it so painful to start believing in yourself? And the specific part about the video topic is the starting to believe in yourself. Why is that so painful? Because I find that not believing in myself is relatively, it's like kind of the norm. For me to have negative thoughts or for me to not believe in myself is just sort of what my life is, and I don't feel any type of way about it. Um, but starting to believe in myself, starting to move into that period of, okay, maybe I have something of worth to add, or maybe I do have value, or maybe I am intelligent, or maybe I am good looking. Any of those things, that's really painful for me and very uncomfortable. So that's kind of the thing I want to explore is like, why is that so? Like, why is there so much agony in letting go of these destructive beliefs? And that's kind of the video topic I wanted to discuss with you all and get your guys' opinion. Averting apathy. Thank you so much for dropping in. Would you be able to recommend any BP2 books of YouTubers besides yourself? I think I also may have hypomania and stuck in a Googling loop. I'm very new to the idea of being bipolar type 2, so maybe Strings and Petals. Strings and Petals has some ideas about bipolar 2. um I just found it out, and I found it out mainly through I started a new antidepressant and it made me have psychosis. I was struggling to quit nicotine, and every time I would relapse on nicotine I would become super hypomanic. So the way I discovered my bipolar type 2 was a combination of medication and then just witnessing um, what was triggering these episodes. And like, so stimulants would trigger hypomania, and then quitting nicotine would trigger depression, or like I would quit caffeine. But as far as suggesting other YouTubers with bipolar type 2, I don't know any. This is all still really new for me. No, I mean, oh, can I buy you a water bottle? No, I mean a nice Yeti instead of your plastic bottle. No, I have a nice water bottle. It's just in my broken down car that is at my friend's house, and I'm devastated by. Maybe even with a straw. Uh, no, you're not buying me anything. I'll just make sure to actually have a real water bottle instead of plastic. Anna says I would very much like that video from you. So I guess I just want to ask you all, if you struggle to believe in yourself, why is that so painful? If you have any insight you want to share with why is that transition into like listening to that little voice that says maybe I do have value, why is that so much more painful than just sitting there and beating up on yourself and being like, I don't really have any value at all? I'll get my plastic water bottle out of the shot. Actualization. Have a good night, Lisa. Thank you so much for dropping in. I appreciate it. Anna Real says, if I don't believe in myself, it's a nice surprise when I succeed. If I believe in myself and fail, then I feel worse. That's a great point. That's a huge part of it for me, trying to normalize and be comfortable with anything like that. Strings Bell says, I don't really know any bipolar type 2 content creators. Maybe that's why I was drawn to East content. Maybe that is an insight. Even though I don't really talk about bipolar, but inadvertently having these very bipolar experiences. That kind of reminds me, I should probably find a content creator with bipolar that makes bipolar content. So some of the ideas, or I guess some of the things I've come up with, is I have this cabin metaphor I always use, and the cabin metaphor is throughout my bipolar tingle went off. The cabin metaphor is throughout life, for whatever reason, I feel like I've been thrusted out into the cold of failure, right? Whether it's other people making me feel like a failure, whether, I was bullied in middle school and a bit of high school, whether it was my parents making me not feel like enough, whether it was my own failures, or whether it was romantic partners of mine making me feel not enough. One reason or another, I was forced out into the cold, right? Um, and the pain of the cold, and then where the cabin comes in is that I feel like believing in yourself is this like warm, cozy cabin in the middle of winter, and being inside that cabin is like believing in yourself. And so for the longest time, I've been forced to be outside the cabin and used to the cold. And one of the parts I think of why it's so painful to believe in yourself is I feel like what's painful about being in the cold isn't so much being in the cold per se, it's the process of getting used to being in the cold. And so one of the fears I have is that, okay, I've spent years being in the cold, I've gotten used to it, I've kind of made a home in it, and I'm so afraid now that I have an invitation into this metaphorical cabin that the second I walk in and I start to get warmed up and someone hands me hot cocoa and I think to myself, wow, I don't have to be out in the cold anymore. Like the second that happens, life in some sort of way will come along and so unequivocally shove me back out into the cold and then have to get used to it again. So that's a big part of it for me, is this very deeply ingrained fear of like, okay, I've spent so much time trying to get used to being out in this metaphorical cold and getting used to this idea that no one likes me and getting used to this idea that I'm a failure or that I don't have anything of worth to add. And so getting to these periods of believing that, and that it's really painful to start letting go of that, because it's like, well, what happens if I start to let go of these negative beliefs and then just get forced back into them? That's going to be really painful. I'd rather just stay in the cold and stay holding these beliefs and not have to deal with that transition back into them. And so that's a part of it for me. There are other parts of why I think trying to believe in myself is so painful. Anna Real says, Mindset by Dave on Twitch and YouTube. I'm pretty sure he has bipolar type 2 and I love his content. That's a great suggestion. I think you recommended him to me. Strings and Pedals says, like a spidey sense. Yes, well, my ADHD spidey sense went off for you. So that's definitely true. Caitlin Brown says, thank you for your live. It's keeping me company while I'm at work. If you don't mind me asking, or you don't mind me sharing, what's the general thing that you do at work? Sophia says, I think it can be scary to start believing yourself if you are someone who is worried of failing and the uncertainty of the future and losing the comfort of feeling a certain way you are used to. That's a perfect way to put it. Ali says, part of it might be just that I'm familiar. Telling yourself I can't do it is easier because it allows you to stay in your comfort zone, even if that comfort zone is bad for you. Once again, a great way to put it. Danielle, how's it going? Hello. Something that helps me is when I'm feeling good and joyful is building positive thought pathways in my mind. I'm not trying to overanalyze when I'm feeling I try not to overanalyze when I'm feeling bad or negative. That's a great suggestion. Someone was recently talking to me about like neuroplasticity and the importance of trying to create these more positive pathways in your mind. My friend Sophie does this thing called EFT, and she has this idea that we're trying to stamp positive stuff over these negative beliefs and trying to reinforce them. Caitlin Brown says, I love that topic. I think for me, it's mostly that it makes me recognize all the time I've lost when I could have been believing all along. Oof, that is such a great point. And it brings me into the next kind of big topic that I found when I was exploring this is the way starting to believe in yourself recontextualizes the past. One of the really painful things is as someone who is an abuse victim of a romantic partner and as someone who maybe didn't have the greatest parents, we'll just say that, when you don't believe in yourself and you think you're worthless, then this abuse is just like, okay, I kind of deserve that. It is what it is. Um, that's just what I deserved, and I didn't deserve any better, and so I can't be mad or I can't be hurt that I didn't get better or that I was abused because, well, that's just what I deserve. But when you start to believe in yourself, you start to realize that, oh, maybe I didn't deserve that. Or maybe I could have been good at that. Or maybe I could have found success with that. And I find the way it recontextualizes the past, it makes the past all of a sudden a lot more painful. And I think in some degree, it can be easier to just not start believing because it's really hard to face all these old things suddenly become new pain and the way in which everything starts to be recontextualized. If I have value and I deserve people to be kind to me and that I'm smart or I have things of worth to say, then it makes the abuse I was put through by, like, let's say my ex, just all that much more painful because it's like, well, why did that happen then? See. Anna Real says everyone has such great thoughts and insights on this. Yeah, I agree. Everyone really does. I appreciate it. But yeah, that piece of recontextualizing the past and not really wanting to face that, and all the new pain that comes with, as Caitlin says, the time you've lost, or all the time you could have believed in yourself, or maybe all the for me, the biggest person holding me down is me. There's no one really left in everyone that exists in my life is super supportive and is always trying to tell me I have value. And so it's ironic because the only person that's really holding me back in life is me at this point. And so that's another thing that's painful is sort of recognizing, oh, I am my own worst enemy and it's me getting in my way. And there's a lot of weird pain that comes with that as well. Averting apathy. It's definitely the fear of failure for me, recognizing that most of past achievements were drawn by a fear of failure and self flagellation. That is such, I don't know, I relate to that so much because if I were to point out my deepest fear, it would be a fear of failure, but on probably a deeper level than that, it's a fear that I am not meant for anything, that I'm meant to fail, that it's like a fundamental part of who I am. It's just, it's burned into me that because of my socioeconomic status or because of the choices I made when I was younger or because of the parents I had, I was literally born to fail. And that's all I'll ever do. And so one of the biggest fears I have is that all these things I think I'm capable of are just escapist fantasy, and that actually trying to believe in myself is going to reveal that in a way that I can never unsee, is that in reality that all I'm meant for is failure. And that's a really difficult thing for me to handle, and a fear that I controls a lot of my life, truthfully. Ali says, what helps me in moments where I struggle to believe in myself is to remind me that there's an undeniable proof in my past that I was able to do something before. I think that's a great point of working through it. If anyone else has suggestions of what's helped them push past the inability to believe in themselves. Right now, like I said, it's a very current issue for me. I don't know how to believe in myself, and I don't have any great insights into that topic. But one of the things that I do is just it not matter. Just not even care whether I do or do not believe in myself, and just push forward and be like, it's okay that I don't believe in myself. It's okay that I have all these negative thoughts. I'm just going to do it anyway. And it doesn't, so what if I'm just moving towards this thing that I think I'll fail at? At least I'm doing something. Strings and pedals, how deterministic of you, East. You know, I'm not into determinism. I'm into the free will. Emily says, for me, recognizing I am the one to blame for things that happened in the past was freeing because I control what I do and don't do, but I can't control what other people do to me. I absolutely agree. That's a really good point to bring up. One of the things that's really freed me from mental health stuff is this realization that how much of my own actions and choices set me on a path for certain things like an abusive partner or certain kinds of failures or certain kinds of mental health collapses. And that although it's not necessarily my fault that those things happened, there are things in my life I can control about my trajectory through life and what kind of people have access to me or not. And so I think that's such a great point, Emily, this idea of recognizing where there's fair blame. That's where I think it's hard. I was talking to Anna Reel about this the other day, is it's really difficult to find, okay, what should I be labeling as legitimate failure and what is me being unfair and cruel and ruthless? Because I don't know about you all, the voice that exists in my head is exceedingly cruel and ruthless all the time. Sophia says, I agree with Ali. Looking back on small successes in your past can help build confidence that you are able to succeed in life. Yeah, great point. Reinforcing that. One of the things that I struggle to do, and I wonder if you all struggle to do it too, is I overlook every single major accomplishment that I have. As if I look at my life 4 years ago, I was a radically different person. I wasn't even close to where I am now. I would have killed to be where I am now with my mental health. And despite all that growth, I can so easily look past it. And something that helps me is taking the time to stop and be like, no, that was a huge accomplishment. You deserve credit for that. Anna Reel says, I believe other people more than I believe in myself. So it helps when others believe in me because, well, then I'm more likely to believe them. But I need to develop my own self belief. Definitely the trying to develop a self belief and not have a huge reliance on other people is pretty hard. Strings and Pedals says, a bipolar thing is then to say, I only achieved this because I was manic, so it doesn't count. Yeah, that one of the biggest fears I had finding out I was bipolar and I hadn't come back to YouTube yet was I was so afraid that all of my success on YouTube was the product of mania, because to some degree it was a product of mania. The times that I would come back, because I had a bunch of times where I left, I would get manic and very inspired, and then I would create content. And I was really afraid of, without mania, can I even be successful on YouTube? And so Annabelle brings up a great point. I think it's awesome that you have goals and you go for them. I sometimes feel like I haven't found a purpose, so I don't go towards anything. Yeah, Danielle, if you wouldn't mind talking more about like sort of the like not having a purpose and maybe why you feel that way, or did you previously have a purpose and maybe something happened along the way, or do you feel like you've never truly had that thing that you've been driven towards? I feel so incredibly blessed and lucky. I feel like I have this calling to try to help people through creating content, and I feel very lucky that it's been nagging at me so much and has never left me alone. Uh, Caitlin Brown says, I really love that suggestion. Shakira, what's up? Have you been lurking in the background this whole time without saying hi? Or did I just miss you popping in? But Shakira is another friend from YouTube that's popped up. How are you doing? I can't wait for our chat later this week or maybe next week. I fear failure because that means I have to keep trying just as hard, if not harder. I can be quite lazy. Someone made this point to me recently and was making this like that laziness doesn't exist. And I wonder what your opinion, Shakira, is it truly laziness, or is it a product of something else? I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot lately, whether laziness is a real thing or not. I think it is. I can be quite lazy sometimes. Caitlin Brown says, I stock dairy at Walmart. Sundays are busy, and I like that I can accomplish a lot. Nice. I stock things. My job, I stock stuff. I'm not going to say where I work, but I also stock stuff, and I'm normally I would be starting work right about now. I work from 9 to 1 Monday through Fridays. So I feel you on the stocking stuff. I personally don't love it, but it's pretty mindless. Shakira says, "Oh my God, Shakira, yeah, Shakira, you lurking in the background, not saying hi." Oh, you okay? You did say hi. I said hi, and you just missed it because you dislike me. I hate you to the depths of who I am, and I don't consider you a friend because I totally do. Danielle says, I also have a strong feeling that I'm here to help people, but I haven't found slash been given a medium to do that through. Help people in what way? Help people through like sharing your own story. Help people. What does that calling look like? Because I think one of the beautiful things is how many different ways there are that one can help someone. Isn't isn't East the rudest? I can be the rudest. You're right. I'm the worst. I don't even know why you guys are my friends. There's some other things about the video topic. I wonder what are some internal narratives that you all have. For me, I have these really vicious voices in my head that says like I'm too stupid, that no one likes me, that I'm unlikable. Maybe if you ask Shakira right now, maybe I'm not likable. But those are some of the really difficult internal narratives I have. Is that like you're too stupid for this, or you're not you're not smart, or you don't have anything of value to say, depending on what I'm trying to engage with. There's this other thing in my life where I'm trying to get back into coding, and it's really hard because coding's difficult. And whenever the second I have any adversity with that, I fly into these kind of dissociative states where I'm just like tearing myself down. It's really hard to get out of that mental space of yelling at myself internally and just being so rude for no reason. So I wonder what are some other kind of internal narratives that you all have. Uh, Shakir says it's okay. I'll let him pass because I was hella late. You can be as late as you want. I just appreciate you coming in and saying hi. Liz says I'm going to write you. CBT will help you. Yeah, I'm more than happy to receive emails. My email's in the description, I think, of every video, or you can reach out to me. I think, Liz, you reach out to me on Instagram, right? So if you want to send me something on Instagram, by all means. Danielle says you're definitely likable from my perspective. I want to help people feel better, feel more good more often. And does that take like the form of like maybe like therapy, counseling, help people feel good, like a certain demographic of people? I'm just curious about that. Anna says all of the above. I'm not smart enough, good enough, likable enough, pretty enough, strong enough, goes on and on. Does laziness exist? Could be a great video topic. That is a great video topic. I'm writing it down, Sophia. Sophie and I will have a great chat about laziness exists. Her friend did a podcast on it, and we were kind of talking about it. So her and I will get a good kick out of discussing this. Exist. Yes, on yeah, I thought I knew you. Definitely reach on Instagram. I don't know I can't remember off the top of my head which Instagram you message. But the one I check the most frequently would be my own personal Instagram. So if you're messaging my channel Instagram, that's one I don't check super often. So if you aren't messaging my personal Instagram, feel free to send me a message there. Streams and pedal. I think people generally want to do things, achieve things, and not be lazy. That ADHD executive dysfunction is driving me nuts, though. That's a whole different topic too. That's what I talked about in my latest video of mental health getting in the way of success. Is it's really hard when you're struggling with these mental illnesses and you start to think, well, the reason I'm failing or struggling to do this is because of some core attribute of who I am, that I'm lazy or that I'm stupid or I'm not driven enough or I just am a failure or whatever it may be. And in the reality, you're just struggling with your brain working completely different. Or for me, it's like I'm never going to not be depressed. I'm always going to fall into depressive episodes. That's just who I am. And it turns out I have a bipolar disorder. And the second I medicated, I stop having depression. So it can be really hard when we misattribute things that we're suffering from as core attributes of who we are. Internal negative narrative, because I have good ones too. If they can do it, why can't you? Definitely comparison. That's super interesting. One thing I've never been, whether it's my eating disorder or whether it's any other facet of my life, I've never really compared myself to other people. Maybe because I always felt so different than other people, which is super cliched to say. But I think that avenue of comparing yourself to other people and the success they have is such an interesting point if you want to elaborate any more on that, Shakira. Emily says, I'm currently job hunting, so mine is like, you think, oh, that one hits so close to home. You think someone would hire you to do XYZ thing, you can't even leave the house on time. Uh, yeah, for me, like, who would hire you, or who the fuck do you think you are to do that? Those hit way too close to home, and something I suffer with. Like, with content creation, I feel that a lot. The imposter syndrome of who are you to create content? Who are you to live stream to people? I really struggle with that. Danielle Rogers says, I have no idea in what way I'd like to do that. That would be tough to have this calling to help other people and unsure of what medium or platform to do it. I hope you the best of luck of finding that it's a really rewarding thing. I haven't had this massive impact on the world or other people, but the small impact that I have had on people that reach out to me means the world to me. So I really hope you find that too, because it's a really fulfilling thing that gives a lot of meaning to my life, like meaning with a capital M. And it's the reason why I've pushed through the hells of my mental health to come back to YouTube, is because I miss it. Yeah, I agree with Annabelle that no, that's not a true thought. And there's probably definitely reasons why you can't leave the house on time. A lot of stress or some other thing going on. I'm gonna have to look into a straw if I'm gonna keep on live streaming, aren't I? Well, it is 9:14. I am really hungry. I don't need an excuse to leave, but I am really hungry and I'm starting to be emotionally exhausted from live streaming. It has been great hanging out with you all. Um, Thank you so much for coming in and spending time with me. And then also for everyone that gave me advice on things like length of video or my thumbnails or possibly live stream, for the people that gave their opinions on this video topic. It helps me a lot. Um, I'm going to put the final touches on that video topic today so I can get that video out on Friday, and I might include some snapshots, if that's all fine, of maybe your opinion on what's difficult. Yeah, it just means so much of you guys being patient with me and having your own vulnerability with me. I was a nervous wreck through most of this, so it just means the world that I have audience members that will be patient and, I don't know, not make fun of me. I can't really imagine anyone really making fun of me, but still to have the kind of community where what I'm thinking to myself is that my fears are irrational and I am supported, and that these people do care about me to some extent. Just that I have that means the world to me, and it's one of the reasons why I feel a lot more calm right now. And I don't know, I can't express that enough. That I can come here and even have 17 people. That's a huge number of people to me. to sit and listen to me ramble and talk about stuff. So yeah, thank you so much for your time and spending it with me on this Sunday, especially my peeps that Annabelle, you out there super late in the morning. Ali says, I moved to another country just before COVID hit, and no matter how hard I tried, nobody wants to hire me. Really makes it hard to keep believing in myself if nobody wants to give me a chance. That would be devastating to take. One of the things that sucks is when there's these external reasons for why something's happening and they're never conveyed to us, right? Like often when we're not hired, we're not given these in-depth looks into why it happened. We're just given the results, and we're left to try to figure it out. And the easiest way for a lot of us is to just assume something's wrong with us. So that would be really tough. Sophie, thank you so much for dropping in. Nice to see you, Chris, and read everyone's comment. Good night, you all. Shakira says, oh, I missed your stream outros. Yeah, me being overly expressive and nice. Yeah, it really does mean a lot. I hope you all have a great night. I'm going to be posting again this Friday, probably live streaming again on Saturday or Sunday. So thank you for spending time with me. I'm excited to go eat dinner